Hi, and welcome to Grandad on Enfield. Today we're going for a quick spin. I'm a bit busy at home with power washing and getting the house ready to paint. It's a bit boring, so I won't show you any of that. So I'm off for a spin to Kinsale. Now, I forgot I had to turn on my mic, so it's a voiceover today. It's new to me, so that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. Onto the road. This is the area where, to be honest, is probably the reason I don't like group rides. A group of us would meet up and head to the pub. The speed was high going down and overtaking was dangerous. But coming back was worse. At the time, the drink driving was around 2 pints. But of course, some people would ignore this. So take alpha male syndrome, and a few pints and speed and overtaking became much worse. So my rules are now: no drink when I drive, no speeding, and only overtaking when it's safe to do so. I think if you ride with a group, make sure they only ride as fast as the slowest rider, if that makes sense to you. As you can see at the end of the video, there are a lot of blind bends and side roads. Please drive only as you feel safe. Sorry if it sounds a bit preachy, but there's nothing worse than riding when you don't feel comfortable or on your limit. Now, onto these new CarPlay screens. I'm not a fan of them. I think they're too big and distracting. I had a sat-nav on the Interceptor, but I found myself looking at it too much. Now, if you like them, fine, but I don't put my phone on the bike. I just have the beeline, and that's enough for me. I bought my Enfields because they don't have TFT screens. Just 2 clocks on the Interceptor and 1 on the Bullet. So I don't know what I feel like about the new clocks on the new Enfields. I have to see one to find out. On to Harley Davidson. Every second video on YouTube seems to be about either Harley going woke or that they're going broke. I've yet to see the new 400s on the road, and I don't know how they come into Ireland. But if you want to build brand loyalty, you have to give people something they can start on. And to be honest, now I think about it, I haven't even seen the 500 or 750 models here yet. Then they released the top of the range CVO at $110,000. You have to think, yes, they're going to sell less bikes, but charge more for them. Release the 400s and let people start there. What's the worst that can happen? Now, speaking of 400s, the new Triumph seem to be selling well. But I can't help but thinking back to Edward Turner when he was asked about the Japanese bikes. He said people didn't want them. They would never sell, and Triumph was a different market. He told people what they wanted, and they wanted British bikes. So he was saying people wanted oil leaks, high compression engines with kickstarts only, and high levels of vibration. Now I can understand how people viewed the Japanese in the 40s and 50s after World War II. But that's not what most people felt like in the 60s onwards. To modern times, and John Blow was asked about Royal Enfield. He said that Triumph and Royal Enfield were 2 different markets, so they weren't in competition with each other. I think the new 400s dispel that myth. Before I bought the Interceptor, I asked the local dealer if he could get me one. He said no, why would I want a bike that was built in India? It's that sort of thinking that harks back to the Mr. Turner age. Now, the new Triumphs are built by Bajaj in India. This brings me on to the Chinese bike. Or the Chinese bikes. First, take a look around your home and how much of it is made in China. The TV, laptop, phone you have is probably made in China. I was charging my doorbell today, and guess where it was made? Yes, China. So we know KTM, Benelli and CF Motors are made in China. But how many bikes or parts of your bike come from or use material from China? I have no problem with it, as the Chinese bikes seem to look good. To Chinese bikes from 10, 15 or 20 years ago, you bought it cheap and it started to rust before your eyes. Exhaust bolts and chrome that fell apart as soon as it rained. Spare parts couldn't be got, nobody would work on them, and even if they would work on them, you couldn't get replacement parts. So I had to check the prices of the new CF motos. Now, they are not as cheap as I thought, but they are affordable. They are good looking bikes. The 300 CLX starts at €4,150. The Honda CRF starts at €8,600. Although they have discounts on some Hondas now at the moment. Well, here in Ireland anyhow. The Royal Enfield Hunter starts at €6,000. That's €2,850 more for a Hunter. CF Moto 700 CLX starts at $7,300, where the Interceptor starts at $9,200. And the MT800 Sport starts at $9,200 up to the Explorer at $15,200. As I say, they're not for nothing, but they do undercut most other brands. I will be fitting the Bullet with a K&N air filter, and other things I've planned is to fill the tank on the Interceptor and go to a weighbridge. I would like to see if the changes I have made add much more weight, and no, I won't be taking off the main stand to save weight, as I use the main stand all the time and not the side stand. I've added a video of putting the bike on the main stand as I watched the YouTuber saying how hard it was. Also, people have keep saying how the bottom has dropped out of the classic bike market. I just watched the Mecom auction, and I think someone forgot to tell them, because some of the bikes reached, I think one reached $1.2 million. There is also a Bruff Superior going up for sale soon in the UK. Guide price is £300,000 to £350,000. Watch the video on the main stand on the Interceptor. And thanks, and ride safe, Grandad on an Enfield. Hi. I was watching a video of some fellow just bought an Interceptor and complained he couldn't get it up on the main stand. There's nothing to it, there's no secret or anything. I have a side stand. I rarely ever use a side stand. So just to get it up, just roll it off, foot on the stand, push it down, up she goes, no problem. So that dispels the myth.